Three, four travelers, three of them. They were walking down and they suddenly came across a huge wall like this. And apparently that wall was running miles and miles and miles. So naturally, human beings, we are very curious. We like to see what is on the other side of the wall. So they climbed on shoulders of each one, and one person could reach the top, and he looked across on the other side, and he was so enthralled, and he was saying wow, wow. And actually these people who were down there, they wanted to know what is he saying, but without saying anything, he just kept on exclaiming, and then he dived into the other side. The people this side didn't know what it was. Actually, second guy, he was also very interested. Let me also find out. So he also managed, with the other guy's help, climb up on top. He did the same thing. And he sat there enthralled, looking. He was stunned. He didn't talk at all. And then he also went on to the other side. This guy on this side, he is totally amazed. What is it that side that is making them so enamored? And I would like to go down, and I also want to see. Somehow he managed to climb up. And he also saw the beautiful what was there outside. But what the third person did, he didn't dive onto the other side to go down and have the fun and the enjoyment and whatever the beautiful, the harmony was there on the other side. He decided to come down on this side, and he said, this beautiful world that I see, I must share it with everyone, and I must bring this joy to everybody. And this is a person, someone like Jesus, Buddha, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, and Swami Vivekananda, who we are talking about. What they did, they saw the enormous joy which is within us. So what did he say? What lies behind us, what lies ahead of us, is nothing compared to what lies within us. Yesterday evening I heard somebody telling me I'm going for meditation. I said, wow, very nice. Swami Vivekananda brought this concept of the ancient India, which was that time tormented by the attacks. 326 BC, Alexander the Great, then Tamerlane, Genghis Khan, Babur, Akbar, Humayun, Aurangzeb, everybody came and raided India. Have you ever thought, why India? And then came the Portuguese, the Zoroastrians, the Persians, came the French and the British. During that turmoil, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, his message, for which Swami Vivekananda was born. When the first time when Vivekananda had experienced his first samadhi, so Paramahansa Ramakrishna asked him after that, so what do you want now? So Vivekananda said, I wish to stay always in this state. Once in a while I will come out and I will just sustain by eating a little bit of food, and I want to get back and stay in that joy. Just like the first and the two across the wall. They didn't want to, they wanted to stay that side. So there are three qualities as it is given by the first president of Ramakrishna Mission. Three qualities of the great masters, enlightened masters. The first is, they're always in joy and ananda and smiling and cheerful, but they're silently on themselves. within themselves. Now when I was young such as you, and younger, in my earlier than the youth, I must have been 10, 12, I used to tell my, all the monks and all used to visit our house very frequently. My mother and father, they were very fond of them. And I used to tell my mother, you're not spoiling them. Just giving them lots of money and fruits and sweets and cooking for them. And what are they doing? All they're doing is just sitting down there and having fun and becoming fatter and doing nothing. This is a hell of a thing. I didn't understand that time, like most of us do not understand. What do they do? This saintly person, enlightened, who sits all by himself, maybe inside a cave, maybe inside his home. As for any religion, what they do with their silence, that energy that they have around them, it goes around the world through the mountain caves, walls, stone walls, and spreads around the world to bring in peace and harmony and joy to everybody else. And this is the reason why you will find, in particular in India, it is prevalent in everywhere else too, but more strongly in India. That is why Swami Vivekananda, as you understand, you will find his writings and images and everywhere else in the school. We consider him as our Guru. And the message that he brought in, the message of the Vedanta, the message of you, not me. Before that, what was it? Ancient India, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the British influence in India. Everybody else wanted to earn more money, more property, and have so-called the material wealth. But he is the first one who brought into an awakening. And this is what he talks about: arise and awake and stop not, till you reach your goal. He brought India into the world map for the first time by talking about, you saw the speech, which was very well presented, and most importantly, one line which is forgotten by most, which was covered today, congratulations, which was when Paramahansa Ramakrishna was asked by Vivekananda, have you seen God? He said, yes, I have, as I see you. And then he said something which was today's presented to you. He said, and better. So what is the message of Paramahansa Ramakrishna and Vivekananda to all of us? Threefold message by Ramakrishna, one added by Vivekananda. Very simple, the entire Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, Paramahansa, we keep talking about it. Very simple, four message. One, God does exist, and you can worship Him. Paramahansa Ramakrishna followed Islam for 3 years. He witnessed and realized Allah. Then he practiced for 2 years Christianity. And he had very close, and so did Vivekananda, so did Paramahansa Yogananda, you heard about it, experienced Jesus Christ and the Lord. So first, God does exist. Second, God can be realized. What is this God on a Monday? It is so. And the third is, the purpose of the human life is to realize that divinity of goodness, the God, or whichever name you call, are the three messages by Paramahansa Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda added one more, and that is, utilize that wealth and serve other people. Go down to each and every house, to each and every country, and spread this message. That the message of the wealth. With the first guy on the wall, he was in ecstasy, but he went on to the other side and stayed there. Second guy was in ecstasy too, but he stayed and enjoyed that scene, and he was enamored, and he also went to the other side. But the third guy, and that's the reason why India is today rising, and I'm beautifully excited to see that our current Prime Minister, he's just been this week to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Mission at Belur Math, and he dressed up like Vivekananda himself as a brahmachari, and he went and paid respect onto those two beds which is in his room, in which he used to do meditation, and the other one where he left his last body, and he spent some time there. Meaning the respect and the honor of the India into the world was brought in by talking about India, Bharat, Punya Bhumi. That it is Punya Bhumi. Lectures from Colombo to Almora by Swami Vivekananda. In page 3 and page 4, if you read it, why India is called Punya Bhumi, and what's so special about? Why did everybody come to India? And this is what you sometimes have heard from me. You must have seen the film. It is there. Jesus came to India, lived here for 17 years, and went to be. Why India? It is because of that richness of the purity and the. And what does the third person do on the wall? He comes down to spread that word to everyone. And this is what the purpose of you and me. Education for character, which Swami Vivekananda says, to develop that power of the beauty, of the humanity, of the human excellence from within, and spread it, that goodwill to everyone. It was very nice for Shradha to remember Vasanti ma'am. She really had a very tough time in her life. We know her for close to, I would say, since 2004 onwards, somewhere around there. She really had a very tough time. There was a lady who was having equally or maybe a little more tough time in her life. And she was so badly also ridden by various illness that she couldn't even spend time in personal elevation through meditation and things, so that she couldn't even sit down to do that. Vasanti used to come once in a while to attend our Sunday sessions. Then that lady who was suffering very badly, she used to come to Ramakrishna Mission once in a while, would talk to the Maharajas, but couldn't sit down also. It was so bad. She used to stand, talk and go back. And eventually, this poor lady, not Vasanti, Vasanti had a heart attack. The poor lady, she committed suicide. The lady I'm talking about. And you know what? The Maharaja, who was the president of that time of that particular Ramakrishna Mission, went down to pay respect to the body. And there was another lady who was with him, and she has spoken about it to another young monk, and I heard it from that young monk. This President Maharaj, he leaned forward to the dead body, and on the ear, he whispered, "Next time, my child, choose your parent well." Now, which you and I may not be aware, but what Vivekananda brought the message through the ancient Vedanta. He studied all the religions intensely, particularly ancient India's Vedanta, Purana, and he became a master at it, and he spread that word to everyone. He's written something on Karma Yoga. He talked about 4 yogas. There are 108 Upanishads. He brought into 12 Upanishads. Primarily, possibly because Shankaracharya himself, which is about 1500 years ago, he brought in these 12 Upanishads and wrote extensive commentary. You have heard me talking about Aparoksha Namaditi, that is on the same commentary on the Upanishads. Vivekananda on the Karma Yoga talked about that whatever you do, Whatever actions you're doing today, good, good, bad, bad, everybody faces the result. So, what is the message? When you work, when you do something, when you think something, you haven't done it apparently. You may be sitting quietly, but thinking in your mind something. That is also work. So when you think something, when you do something, when you speak something, these are all doing, karma. Even if you're lying down and you're sleeping, you're still working as per karma yoga, because you're breathing in and breathing out. That's karma. There are three things they affect. The first effect is, let's say I feed the poor. The poor is fed, poor man's stomach is filled, and an action has, physical result has come. Second is that because of that guy has ate and he's feeling good, you feel good. So second action is in your mind. First is the physical action. Let's say I push this, so this rostrum, this lectern moves to the left. That's the physical action, like the feeding. And second action is on your mind. You feel good because you've done a good act. If you do bad act, supposing you fight with someone and you said a bad word, have you ever realized when you had a fight with your husband or wife or parents or brothers or sisters or friends, have you noticed you're the one who keeps on suffering? It keeps on. So that's the one in the mind. And the third action is what we are talking about, which is related to all of us, and particularly what we talked about just now, is there is a tremendous reaction in the cosmic world, this consciousness. It goes and implants your action. So supposing you have done something good, happiness and joy will result because of that. Not only to you, to also everybody else. So the great masters, they sit and maybe they're just sitting still, meditating in samadhi state, but they're exhuming tremendous energy from that goodwill. So in India particularly, we go and serve these great masters. The great peers, the fakir, the Sufi, the saint, the Paramahansa, Buddhas, we serve them. Why? Because they have gone past all bad karma and they're only in the good now. There is no bad karma for them anymore. So they're creating only good things. So those who serve them, those good things come to you too. And your bad things get erased, one. Two, whatever wishes you have in your mind, they also get fulfilled. There is a 69-year-old lady, 78-year-old husband. Ask somebody whose name is Bengali Baba, very great saint. He was then 104, 105 years of age. He used to walk around the whole country, India. So once he went to Bengal in one of the villages and this couple was there. They looked after him with whatever little meager thing they had. And he felt very pleased. So next day before leaving, he said, tell me, ask me what you want. And the lady said, Baba, I want a son. He said, not possible. That was in the morning. But she took care of him through the day, feeling sad, but she took care with a love and heartiness. Baba was pleased. Just before going, he said, okay, you will get a son. But give me that son when he's 6 years of age, otherwise he's going to die. Mother agreed. Naturally, at 6 years when he came down to take, she wouldn't give. I will not go into the story. By the way, his name is Swami Rama. He went on to live till 82 years of age with Bengali Baba. He's created a great Himalayan institute all over the world, United States and India and Rishikesh and Goa. Huge university. studying on India's Vedas, Upanishads, Ayurveda, etc. So these great saintly people have the power to change your bad karma. You have to, when you do that, and this is the message of Vivekananda. So this is the reason why the great masters always say Shubh Shubh Bolo, Shubh Shubh Karo. Why? So that the more good things you do, the more good things you teach children to do. As a teacher, the children are generating goodness, and that goodness makes a house happy, joyful. Have you noticed sometimes when you go to somebody's house, and supposing husband, wife, or the brother, sister, they were quarreling, and you press the bell, they're not opening the door, and then suddenly they open the door, and they all smile, hi, come in. As soon as you go, you know they were fighting. You know that. How do you know that? This is how you do that. Shubh Shubh Bolo. If you do wrong things, that energy will get into the cosmic energy of that room, of the house, of the planet. So create good things all the time, which Radha Ma'am said today very nicely. Start right now. Why wait for tomorrow? And this is the Karma Yoga. Our intention as a teacher is to do that karma and create great souls, great spirits. Remember the last week's message, which was put in below the Swami Vivekananda's picture in front of the front foyer? Be blessed that you have been chosen by Lord to be present here, to do something very good. Hold on to that thought by knowing that you will do them too. They don't think that I am a lesser being. Vivekananda said such fantastic things, unbelievable. They're all from Vedanta and the Upanishad. And he realized some of them on his own. He said it is a sin to call yourself a sinner. You and I should not think that we are weak, we are poor, and I'm this and I'm that and I'm ugly or I'm... Now, he said it is a sin to call yourself or think of yourself that I'm bad, I'm a sinner. And he said every saint had a past. So notice, let's say Vivekananda. What was he before that? He was just a youth, questioning youth. And today he's the world leader, and because of him, there are at least 6,000 Vedanta societies all over the world. About 600 of them in India itself. 2 of them coming up, one at Alandi and one at Ramakrishna Mission, Vedanta University. About 70% is complete in Ramakrishna Mission already. Those of you who would like to study, you can take it up. Shardamaya and I have been thinking about knowing more about Vedanta through them. So understand, the great messages of these masters is for you and I to take on the cue and go ahead. These celebrations which you have, the Sankranti, these are all the Puranic celebrations which are beautiful, which are for you and I a reason to spread that same good energy. And in India, it's very famous. India is always packed with such celebrations. And it also, you notice in India, we celebrate with sweet. You'll be surprised, in Russia they do it with salt. So in India, if you try to welcome somebody with salty something, they will feel it is insult. So you have to give them sweet. In Russia, if you give them sweet, they will find that as an insult. So the cultures vary from country to country. Our country is packed with, that is why we are Purna Bhumi and discovered by the great masters. So take on the cue. It's a great opportunity that you and I are alive. India is shooting ahead by 2028 as it is predicted by Wikipedia, by Bill Gates, that India is going to be in the forefront through technology, through art, through science, through history, through knowledge, through spirituality, and lead the world as a leader, including finance, money. And if India is going to be the richest, hey, you guys are going to be rich too. Me too. All of us, yeah? So look for that, work towards it, and India is going to be stronger Punya Bhumi, and we all are going to do that. I'm going to create those masterpieces. Who's going to make India number one? Bhagavad Gita. I've spoken about it before. It's written everywhere. Page 246, chapter 2, verse 31. India the conquered would conquer her conquerors in 21st century. Who are these Indians? These are these champions that you are helping. Keep that thought in your mind. Keep on reflecting the whole day long. All these so-called material things are zeros. Zero meaning it wouldn't last. But if you put 1 before the 0, then the zeros have a great meaning. It becomes millions, trillions, crores and lakhs. That one is that thought of the purity of the Supreme. Always keep that in mind throughout whatever you do during the day. This is the message of the great masters. Keep that thought in your mind. You're specially chosen to be here, and that's why we call you an angel. You have a beautiful day.